excerpt from her novel about how they were sort of dreaming of the literary life in Paris. And so if you get a chance to read her story, it's really awesome. So this is a story that is also in my Wings book, and it is an homage to George Whitman, who was the owner of Shakespeare and Company, and he was one of those people who they called a character. And so I'm only going to read the very beginning of this, but it incorporates some of his writings. The rarest of editions, quote, "There is something gorgeous about him, some heightened sensitivity to the promises of life." F. Scott Fitzgerald. If books are humanity in print, he's the king of the world. The old man sits holding his worn paperback, his gnarled fingers, veins raised under papery skin, caress the cover as if it were an archaeological treasure he has just unearthed in the deserts of Egypt. His thin, plaid flannel-shirted frame hunches on a low stool, knobby knees sticking up at awkward angles. He sits majestically in his small but stately palace. His roomy eyes rise to contemplate his kingdom, a tiny set of rooms lit by dusty chandeliers, crammed floor to ceiling with books. He observes his subjects, an assortment of characters whose eyes glaze over with the wonder of being among thousands of new, old, and rare editions. He savors the sounds of his domain, pages shuffling, pure pleasure sighs, the murmur of voices, the clattery squeak of the door as it opens, and the nearby bells of Notre Dame. He lifts his head with its long strands of silky white hair and inhales the comforting scent of that magical combination of books and people, leather, paper, ink, and interest. The promising perfume of historical, imaginary, and fantastical lives. The smell that makes one instantly settle in for a good read. A girl with short dark hair and berry lips sinks down cross-legged against the poetry shelf. Her black eyes race across the page as she whispers. A graying professor grabs Ulysses and curls up to it while standing. A bleary-eyed traveler breathes in the limb-loosening smell of home and dives into the world atlas to plan the next leg of his journey. The old man smiles, releasing a wreath of leatherish wrinkles, and thinks. A stranger walking the streets of Paris can believe he is entering just another of the bookstores along the left bank of the Seine. But if he finds his way through a labyrinth of alcoves and cubbyholes and climbs a stairway leading to my private residence, then he can linger there and enjoy reading the books in my library and looking at the pictures on the walls of my bedroom. Such is the welcoming spirit of George Whitman, proprietor of Shakespeare and Company Bookstore.